go? Can't get her out of the car. You're getting to go. Don't worry. I'm not going to leave you behind. Hello, I'm David Gray, and it's been a long time. Sorry about that. The last trip I did was the late June Adirondack High Peaks Wilderness, and on that trip, coming down from the Gothics, I took a couple falls that I described this way on the video. Alright, after falling twice now myself, and Jeremy fell once on these slippery rocks with no damage done apparently. Full on the first time. Rolled a few times, but landed on my pack, no harm done. No damage to the camera, miracle. Second time was just a minor one, but I kind of wrenched my knee, so we'll see how that feels in a little while. Well, it turns out that that wrenching of my knee was actually the tearing of my meniscus. And not to go through the elaborate story on it, but it took me a couple months to get through the ortho surgeon, MRI, back to the ortho surgeon, get surgery scheduled. That took a couple months, and I finally had surgery in late August on it. Well, it's been a month and a half since the surgery, and the knee is healing really well. It feels pretty good on the daily walks I do with the dog, so I thought it was time to try it out on an overnight backpacking trip. I was trying to figure out where to go, and I figured why not go back to the beginning. So Christian, the dogs, and I are heading down to the Bloomington, Indiana area, Lake Monroe, to do the Peninsula Trail. It's a 5-mile out and back trail out to the shores of Lake Monroe, and if the weather holds clear like it is right now, we could have a beautiful sunset tonight. So with that, let's get this trip going and head on down to the trailhead in the Dean Wilderness near Bloomington, Indiana. We decided we wanted real food tonight. I guess if you call Spam and hot dogs real food,
should be good.
It sounded a lot better than Mountain House, so we're gonna feast tonight. We're gonna be out that way somewhere on the end of one of those points. Well, I remember this from 10 years ago. We're on the Tower Ridge Road. We have to go 5.5 miles down here to get to the parking lot, where we get to go walk 5 miles basically back into that stuff. Can you say Blair Witch Project? I was doing the Blair Witch Project comparison. Little different feelings after 10 years of backpacking experience, but the road hasn't changed much. This is going to be nice hiking. Perfect temperature, it's like 70 degrees. We are coming up on the trailhead parking lot here on the left somewhere. We made it to the trailhead. Popular place. We made it to the trailhead, and I remember doing this in 2010 on the old mountain. Well, we made it to the parking lot. There's the pack. There's the car covered with dirt. A little dusty on the back of the car. Here is the trailhead. Thought we might have the place to ourselves, but obviously not on a Wednesday afternoon. We are geared up, ready to go, and we are hiking the Peninsula Trail, where we'll be heading down that way.
So this is where we are, and this is where we're going?
Yep. A little over 5 miles, maybe.
Wouldn't that be 4.7?
Yeah, you're right. It's probably 4.7. So, a lot of trails in the Dean Wilderness here. Getting the doggies a little water before we get going. We actually started hiking and came back because I had some water in the trunk instead of using the water we're carrying with us. Water is non-existent out here, so as it is anywhere really in the Midwest this time of year, October. This is the dry time of the year. We haven't had any rain in a month plus, so there will be no water except for in the lake, and that's not the best water in the world. That's a big stick, Bailey. Is that your walking stick? Well, now you're getting them both wound up. Bailey's got her walking stick. Well, this is what we've been hiking. It's the opposite of the Adirondack High Peaks Wilderness trail conditions and difficulties. It is quite pleasant and easy. That's not bad hiking conditions today. Really nice conditions, perfect temperature, trails are pretty smooth. not real many ups and downs. It's actually a good one to test my knee on, just to see how it's going to feel with a pack on. So far it's passing the test. It feels pretty good. I don't know if you can see the trail conditions real well. It is dusty. There hasn't been any rain in this area, all of Indiana, for probably over a month to speak of. Don't be counting on finding any water back here. It's just nothing but dust. I definitely remember this little pine forest area from the last time we were here, how dark it was compared to the other areas we've been walking in. This is pretty cool. I think Jaden's starting to get run out of gas a little bit. It's a lot darker. The camera makes it look a lot lighter than it is. It's really cool. What a cool spot. I wonder if this was like a pine plantation. I have those around here. The smell. Neat smell-o-vision for this. It's got that pine forest kind of smell with the pine needles that you're walking on to cushion your feet. Actually, have numbered sites here. Look at this beautiful site. And the pines, but then you get the colors. Oh my gosh. Not bad, huh? All right, doggies. Peninsula Trail number 211. This way. The sound of all hiking. Pretty cool. There's Jaden coming back to check on me. Gives you some idea of the terrain. I don't know if you can see it through the leaves, but that's not blue sky. That's a lake. We just had a nifty little climb up this ridge, so I'm taking a chance to take a breather here. I think we're about a mile, maybe a little more from the end. So pace is quick on these kind of trails, 2.5 to 3 miles an hour. Half an hour maybe to go or less. Getting close. Just taking a little break here, let the doggies have some water and get the packs off. I think we're only about a mile from the lakeshore, but Bailey was panting really hard, so there's no sense in pushing it. So let her get some water, and they guzzled a liter of water faster than I could pour it out of the bottle just about. So they were a little thirsty, and we had just given them another liter back at the car. You camp in half an hour, so sounds pretty good. And get some Spam going over the fire. Thanks for turning us on to that, Carl. One tree there. Not the only one. There's a whole bunch of them bent just like that, and then all of this right here. So this would have been a real mess to try to get through before they cleaned it up. I assume this was like a tornado or something came out here on this point. Glad I wasn't here when it happened. Looky what we found. I remember when I was here 10 years ago at this very spot, I did this wobbly zoom in thing. Here's where we're going. Looks like we've reached the end of the trail. I don't know if you can see the lake in the background, but it looks like it's going to be beautiful. But I don't have a zoom anymore, so I can't do that. So instead I'll do the shaky walking down the hill thing towards the lake. Bailey already sees the water. She's on a beeline to cool off. We made it to the lake. Now we're in looking for a campsite mode. Hopefully we'll have it to ourselves, but here's the view. It's going to be a nice sunset, except I don't know where the sun's set this time of year. Bailey found a lake. Jaden's on his way to. They're happy again. But man, oh man, it's pretty down here. Well, we're in serious looking for a campsite mode. We're kind of north of where the trail kind of comes out about right where that thing is down there. We found a really nice site, but then there was a huge group already set up just south of there, but it looked like they'd been set up for a while. There was nobody there, and I'm just wondering if people come set crap up out here and just leave it and then come out on the weekends and party or whatever. Christian's heading down that way to see what's around the point. Then we'll probably head back down south, dump our packs off there, and then explore further south from here. So looking for a campsite, wishing I could get the pack on. Jaden's happy to be in the water. Boy, is it windy out here too. I don't know if you can hear that real well, but it's a little breezy right here. Another advantage of being in that other spot is it was a little more sheltered, but it's windy here. Well, we think we found our home for the night. This is going to be the fireplace and the eating area, and then just back here off the camera is probably a spot to set up some tents and other firing and sitting logs, but this will be a great view of the sunset. We're thinking this might be it for the night. The afternoon spam snack. Trying to figure out, we don't know how Carl did this.
Rice and just cut it on the can.
No. Carl's method was more efficient. Just do like 10 of them at a time. Something that you would rarely if ever eat at home sure tastes pretty darn good right now. Don't you think so, Bailey? She goes, I'm really hoping to find out. We've improved our cooking situation here. I found a grate, which is important because we got all that spam left. Then we get those hot dogs right there. Having a little bit of a grate is really going to help a lot. I don't think you need to do that.
We have a grill.
We just kind of recognize that Bailey's a little dusty. She's like a trail dust. She's got a good spot right here and doesn't care if she's a little dusty. Christian is out looking for geodes, apparently, which is what that is. That's what the inside looks like. I don't know if you can see all the little sparkly crystal things. He is actually going to take some back to his sisters in his pack. So I said, you're going to carry a bunch of rocks. But apparently it's a very cool thing to do, so I think that's pretty neat. But they're not light at all. People do that as a joke. They throw rocks in other people's packs, but Christian's doing it for his sisters, so that's pretty special.
Oh, well, now that it's on the video, I have to bring them back.
Those are already broken open.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them down there.
Wow, that is really cool. There you go. That's geode. It is starting to get a little hot. You notice we were in the shade before. We are not in the shade any longer. So Jaden found that one tree width worth of shade. I remember from the last time I was here, which was a little earlier in the year, but the sun actually set kind of like right over that area. So that is going to be spectacular. A little windy setting the old triplex up today. I'm going to stake down the ground cloth before we get started here. Not so easy setting a tent up in a 30-mile-an-hour wind. Well, that was easy. Actually, no, it was not easy. The winds, when I was setting the thing up, were about 30 miles an hour, and the ground is, well, help yourself, Bailey. The ground is literally hard as a rock. It's all clay. It is baked like cinder block. I'd get a stake in 1/4 of an inch, go to the other corner. That corner would, it was like Keystone Cops. And yes, I know I should have filmed it and done it in time lapse and all that, but I just couldn't take it after about 20 minutes. So I shut the camera off, so I'm really sorry about that. You'll have to use your imagination. But I did get the triplex set up. It is not an easy tent to set up. Anyways, got a place to sleep for the night. Bailey's got a place to sleep right now. Packet Gourmet cheddar cheese spread rehydration time. And I apologize for the shadows from the camera, as well as the fact that I'm like squinting because the sun is literally right behind the camera. I actually skipped the cheddar cheese spread on the Adirondacks trip, which a number of people have pointed out to me. Sorry about that. Circumstances of that trip didn't really lend itself very well, but we'll get back on the bandwagon here. 1/4 ounce of water measured precisely. Kind of wish we were doing this out in the Wind River Range or Colorado or Glacier or the Sierra Nevada or really kind of any place out west, but given the circumstances, this isn't so bad. Here we go. Maybe 45 minutes we'll be having cheddar cheese spread on Ritz crackers. And I won't have to be looking into that sun quite so directly. So here's the scene. Bailey's playing fetch in the lake. Jaden is working his way down there. Sun's getting ready to set, which should be spectacular here in about a half an hour. I'm hanging by the fire, enjoying just a tiny sip of adult beverage, which I haven't decided if it's Buffalo Mark or Maker's Trace. Carl and Travis will get that one. It basically means I didn't have enough of either Buffalo Trace or Maker's Mark, so this is my own little blend, which I'm fond of doing occasionally, and it actually tastes extremely good out here in this setting. So look at that scene. This brings back memories. I'll tell you what, 10 years ago, almost to this day, maybe a month earlier or something, I was out here by myself on my very first backpacking trip, totally intimidated, scared to death. Carried pots and pans and everything else that we tend to do when we're new. Man, what a difference. Think about all the things that have happened in the last 10 years. And I'll tell you what, it sure feels good to be out in the woods again. So I'm gonna enjoy this night. At least she doesn't have the dust on her anymore, for this moment anyways. Oh, fetch is over. Bailey wants to play fetch as the sun sets. I hope you can see all these. I think they're hawks. I can't even count how many there are. Maybe 30, 40, 50. More joining the fray. There's more over here. It's kind of creepy. It like reminds me of Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. Christian on a homemade paracord log tree swing. It's Bailey. Oh jeez. Bailey's like, what do you do that for?
Bailey,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm sorry, princess. Are you okay? Are you okay?
You delicate little flower.
You don't know how swings work yet.
Well, it is cheddar cheese spread time. Jaden always gets the first one. He's the patriarch. What do you think, Bailey? Here. A little dusty out here. Hard to keep anything clean. Very good. Every bit as good as the first time I had it in this spot 10 plus years ago. When I had it 10 plus years ago, it was the very first time I had ever had it. That's alright, it can be rinsed off. That can be for the dogs. That's some careful spam cooking there.
Gotta make it perfect.
And that's just the first course. We've got hot dogs after that. Oh man. Haven't had a whole lot of spam in my life, but hard to believe spam can taste a whole lot better than that.
Second time ever. Still amazing. Spam with a view.
Yes, it is. No. Oh, well, good comeback. Oh man, that's good. That is what we call dinner of champions. Not a bad setting for spam and hot dog dinner. Wait, hot dog dinner. Oh man. perfect. Oh, it was so good. You're drooling.
I made you one too, buddy.
Travis, Bob, and I were doing the Triple Crown on the Appalachian Trail in Virginia. The last night, this dude comes in, we're at the shelter, and the dudes start cooking like real taco meat, and we're doing our mountain house and everything, and they go, hey, would you guys like a taco? yeah, we would really like that. Like, we had this kind of food out in the wilderness after a few days of mountain house, and it's like, tastes 1,000 times better. I know, I love being out there, but I think the greatest thing about it is it gives you an appreciation for everything you take for granted every other day of the year.
It's very humbling.
Good morning. Welcome to day number 2, the final day of our little overnighter here. Knee feels pretty darn good, so from that standpoint I think the trip's been a good success. And that night last night, wow, that was something really special. Didn't sleep all that well. The wind was just howling all night long. Tried getting a video clip of it. I don't know if it worked or not. The rain that was supposed to arrive, I think about 1 o'clock today, looks like it's going to arrive in about an hour. And we've got about 2 hours of hiking to get back to the car. I think we're going to get rolling here. I may even forego, heaven forbid, the Dunkin' Donuts coffee scene and breakfast in lieu of just a Cliff Bar or something, because I don't want to be walking back in a pretty decent rainstorm here. Let's get going on day number 2. Here we go. Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Doing it in a place not too far from where it all began 10 years ago. Down that way, maybe about 50 yards or so. Not the Dunkin' Donuts coffee. That started a little later, but the backpacking. That started right down there. 10-year anniversary of my first Peninsula hike trail. Dunkin' Donuts coffee on a chilly and getting chillier morning with the wind picking up and the rain about maybe a couple hours away if we're lucky. It's going to taste pretty good. A little strong this morning, but that's exactly what we need to get going, breaking down camp. Good start to the second day of our little overnight test trip here. Well, we are geared up and ready to go. Hiking on day number 2, none too soon. The wind is really picking up, and the temperature is dropping, and the rain, I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but you can see the rain right over there. I think we may just beat it. We got 5 miles and about 2 hours back to the car. Retrace our steps from yesterday, but heading out on the Peninsula Trail, day number 2, back to the car. I didn't point this out yesterday, but right after, as you approach the lake, you got this long stretch of these boardwalky kind of things. Looks like almost like walking down railroad tracks. And a cool way to get us started on day number 2. Got to keep pulling, doggy. That's what we're racing against. We're that little blue dot right there. I think we'll just make it back to the car before that catches up with us. Got about an hour and 45 minutes maybe, and that's about how long that's going to take to get here. All that makes me think about all that's changed in the last 10 years. Back in those days, I think I had a cell phone, and I don't recall there being any cell coverage out there. And I certainly couldn't pull up weather radar. I think it might have been a flip phone or something, but Man, oh man, you think about all the things that have changed in 10 years. Well, the trail is generally flat, but I certainly do remember this little uphill. Kind of see the top way up there, but this is about the only hill of any significance. Heading back through that really cool Sherwood forest pine stuff. I don't know if you can tell, the camera's probably lightening this up a little, but it is getting really dark. And I just checked the radar and it's gonna be close. I think we're about halfway back. We've been hiking for about 50 minutes. Probably got about that much more to go. It's gonna be really close, put it that way. It'll pick me up in our step right here to try to get back and stay dry. Quick look at the radar there where the little blue dot. It's getting close. It's getting dark and the temperature just continues to drop. At one point in time I was thinking about taking my little Patagonia air shed off. No way. I'm barely comfortable with it on, and I've even donned the buff. It's getting a little chilly and dark and gloomy in the woods this morning. But the rain has started. We are about 3/4 of a mile from the car. Didn't quite make it back, but it isn't raining very hard at all yet. Rain's starting to get a little heavier, but we're probably no more than 15 minutes from the car. We won't get too wet, I don't think. Worked out pretty well. Glad we got going in a hurry this morning. The rain is picking up a little bit, but I think we're almost within sight of the car. Many times as we do it, that never gets old. Wow, the parking lot across the street filled up. It is always nice to get back to the car, and it is always nice to see it intact. Made it back. Well, there you have it. Peninsula Trail 2020. 10 years after the initial trip is in the books. It was dry, and it was dusty, a little warm yesterday, and generally rain-free until just a few minutes ago. It wasn't Glacier, certainly wasn't the Sierra or the Wind River Range or Colorado, but it was still a really nice hike. That evening last night was really pleasant with Christian and the dogs, enjoying the fire, watching the sunset. Just really nice time. A lot has changed in 10 years since that first hike out here, but one thing that hasn't changed is that trip, just like this one, was a great hike.